I think that's
Hey, we're live on what's the name of this show again? Beyond Ringside. Corner to corner on Beyond Ringside. We totally botched that, but welcome to joining us live. We got it going on here into his house. Now, thankfully, we are without one part of regretfully, we're without one part of the triple threat. But he is on the phone via Ma Bell and Bell Atlantic. What are you doing, buddy?
What's going on, everybody? Brother Nero!
All right, so next after that, now that we're done with Stan,
I had to do it, man. I can't help.
This is Rob Hefner here with Brian Taylor.
What's going
The
on?
doctor is in. And also joining us on the board, controlling everything,
trying to at
control
least.
Somewhere in parts unknown, is Eddie. How you doing, Eddie?
And actually, today it should be parts unmentionable rather than parts unknown. But I'm good. Hope everybody's having a great day.
Third floor, lingerie.
Third floor, lingerie and auto parts. Oh. So we've got a great show ahead of you tonight. We've got a special guest calling in a little bit. We've got the one and only, the missing link. Stan Grubb is coming to join us. We are on location. What do you think, Stan? How's your week going?
I'm sorry, guys. I was playing Pokemon Go. What was that?
Oh, there it is. I'm gonna laugh if you have an accident. Or you just.
Well, I gotta catch the Pikachu. I gotta get this car out of the way. I gotta catch the Pikachu.
And it took all of 30 seconds into our broadcast for us to say that the actions of Stan Grubb are not reflected to Beyond Ringside Radio, ProWrestling.net, or any other show on the family of networks.
Well,
and Corner to Corner does not condone these kind of actions.
That may not be true. I just logged into Pokemon Go myself.
So it looks like Eddie, it looks like it's just you and I tonight.
Yes, we are the same ones left in the building, and I'm perfectly content with that notion.
Yeah. I'm sorry, because it's Pokemon No.
I can't get this guy to pop.
So it's either Pokemon No or Brother Nero.
Yeah.
Wait a second.
Stan's upset because he has yet to be able to buy the Hobo Hardy hairdo.
I gotta tell you, the final deletion was probably the most hilarious segment in wrestling I've seen in some time. I've never seen anything like it before. It was amazing.
Hey, Stan, can I interrupt for just a second?
Absolutely, good sir.
I have a rat-a-tat-a. I just caught one.
So while Brian is playing Pokemon Go, he's going to get done that and then go beat up John Cena.
Oh, you took my line.
I stole it. Hashtag stole it.
Another one of the best wrestling lines that happened lately.
Well, I didn't see the final deletion you were talking about because for some reason it didn't record. But I thought that whole promo was about the best thing that they've done as far as a promo in quite a while. I thought it was hilarious. It was great. And then they did one SmackDown too. It was pretty good.
What I really liked was they finally called John Cena out because nobody has come to save him.
Nobody likes you, John Cena.
I was a little shocked though that it was Enzo and Cass that finally came out, but that might be pretty good. Enzo and Cass versus.
At least it wasn't the Usos.
Yeah. I was still half expecting for one of them to turn, either Cass or Cena to turn, but
that'd have been awesome.
That's just me getting duped by them so many times it ain't funny.
If
pulled a Buff Bagwell on you.
If Enzo and Cass were to actually turn around and slam Cena, that would put them more over with the crowd than anything else right now.
Mm-hmm.
Even with Enzo's presidential diss from the other night.
Which was really good.
I was going to say, that was a pretty good promo. I just feel sorry for the prop people for WWE to have to find that stuff. We need 3 outfits, colonial period, that would actually fit these big guys. And then the person that does the WWE warehouse is going, where in the am I going to fit that at?
Yeah, I can tell it wasn't. It was not Adam Roberts. It was not Jack Lord, and it was not Rick Michaels who made those outfits. Because if it was one of those three, they would have fit.
Oh, and at least they gotten the wigs on the right way. I mean, come on now. But it was supposed to be funny. It wasn't until Enzo and Cass came out.
Saved the day.
Yes, again. But anyway, so what's going on with you, Stan?
Oh gosh, today has been.
Nobody cares what's going on.
Shut up, Brock.
It doesn't matter.
It's been a day of birthday celebration. Oldest is turning 15, making me feel yet again even older.
You are.
Shut up. But you know, I've really been trying to keep up and really catch up on Impact. We give it a hard time. We give TNA a hard time, but I really have been trying to catch up with Impact. I can't say enough about the final deletion. I don't want to spoil it for Brian, but it's just, gosh, it was really, really good. I think both Matt and Jeff deserve a huge, huge props for just putting together an entertaining segment that brought in about 100,000 more viewers than they'd had the week prior. So you know that they're doing something right.
I think that might be their record, if I remember right. I'm not positive on that, but I think that might be their record I read. Maybe their record on Pop or something.
Has anybody seen the quarter-hour ratings? That's what I'd be curious in.
No, the only thing I saw was the overall, where they picked up about 100,000 people.
Okay.
And I was kind of shocked, too, when I read it, because I don't remember a lot of advertisement going on with that. So, I mean, that was well done to draw that many new people in.
Pop TV hasn't really done a bad job or a great job with promoting TNA. They air their 30-second spots here and there and pay attention to it where they need to, but they really don't go above and beyond just yet. I mean, the thing is with WWE, if they're not careful, if they fall asleep at the wheel when it comes to TNA, we could see them have a resurgence.
Did you hit your head? One good promo don't mean.
Whoa. Hold on. I got one argument for that, and I'm sticking with this one for the balance of my life. One good promo can change everything. Austin 316.
Yeah, that's true.
It's pretty valid.
But the difference between that and TNA is the fact that Austin got paid after that promo.
Yeah.
He didn't have to sit there and go,
one checky bouncy, two checky bouncy.
You know? But,
you know, Stan, this is almost like a classic tennis match. Back and forth.
I mean, I do think that WWE has to be careful because they're going to get to sleep. They're asleep at the wheel. But I don't think it's going to be TNA that's going to take WWE over. I think it's going to be WWE itself. It's going to basically, the main roster is going to get absorbed by NXT because I think your new generation fan wants to see NXT again. They want to see that kind of wrestling. And when you bring those guys to the main card, you absorb them into what you got. And unfortunately, you bring them up and you have no place to put them. I mean, look, you have the guy who was world champ less than a year ago, Sheamus, curtain jerking.
Good.
You know? So, that just shows you that somebody in creative, it's on autopilot, and it just ain't working.
Well, I'll give you that. They are definitely in a holding pattern until the draft. Seems like the creative team, just everybody that's booking the shows, they're waiting. They're just kind of in a wait position. We're trying to see what they're going to do into the draft. Never mind, we've still got Battleground coming up with... Hey, speaking of promos, before I get into Battleground, how about Seth Rollins talking about Roman Reigns getting suspended?
Hey, I thought it was the best way to talk about the giant elephant in the room.
Yes, very much so.
Everybody, as we said, this day and time with the fan base you have, everybody knows exactly why he's not on TV. You could say he got hurt. You could say he's out visiting his mom. But everybody knows exactly why he's not there. So why not just bring it in? But, I mean, I think... Now, here's a question for everybody is, was it a mistake for the WWE to put the draft out there so early, so now it looks even more like they're on autopilot till after that happens?
Yes.
You know, I thought it was kind of bad timing for them to go, we have a draft, when then all these other storylines are still up in the air.
Well, I think they probably did it because they were trying to do it secretive, but then they kept making mistakes, and everybody figured it out. I mean, if you look at the news about the show after Battleground, the one in Baltimore, and then there were other little things that popped up, if I remember right, that it just happened in like a week. It was like their big secret got exposed, and I just don't think that they thought they could keep it a secret no more. Because I mean, even a week, everybody knew it was coming before they announced it. So
at least Stan's using the turn signal.
Yeah, good job, Stan. You got your hands on the 10-2 or 7-3, whatever it's supposed to be.
He's got his hand at 10:30 in Pokemon. But,
Pikachu, I love you.
Like, now do you make that, like, is the Raw between the two? Because obviously the draft doesn't happen until the live SmackDown.
Right.
Which is yet another Raw away from Battleground.
I think you'll probably have some unresolved issues at Battleground that'll be taken care of Monday night. I mean, I can see, like, the New Day and the Wyatts carrying over, Cena and the club carrying over. You'll probably get an appearance of some of the other people that probably are going to make an appearance. Joe, Balor, that type of stuff. So I think Monday might be a throwaway show almost, but I think you'll get some. Hopefully, you'll get some decent stuff.
That was my question. Like, is it going to be one of those shows like the show before the pay-per-view? You know, where it's, you know, when you announce your pay-per-view card 2 months, 3 months beforehand, and then you just have, all right, well, we're on autopilot for the main title picture for 3 months.
Right.
You know, all we're going to do is we're going to come out and talk junk and yell at each other and have tag team matches with mysterious partners. And I should have locked the door because Stan just came in.
Dang, nabbit.
But now the triple threat is actually in the same room.
What's up?
You know,
my blood pressure now that you're here. Thanks a lot.
That's my line.
I think there's also a report that Vince may be on Raw tomorrow night.
I can help your blood
So,
pressure. Grabbing your bucket like that.
hey, where y'all going? They left me. This is how they do y'all. Live audience, people listening, and they walk off together. So it's me against the world.
Isn't it always you against the world?
Wait a second. Let me tune up the pipes. I'm about to serenade y'all.
You go, Stone Cold.
Comes. New Day rocks.
Here comes Brian singing the song. It's called He's All Alone.
And I'm going to beat up John Cena. Sorry, somebody stole it from me. That was my whole rant today. I had nothing better to do tomorrow than beat up John Cena.
And find Pokemon.
And find Pokemon. Wow. Yeah, maybe not in that order, too. I might find Pokemon and then beat up John Cena.
But it won't work.
And then maybe have some tea-ski. Stand.
I'm trying to find a way to beat up John Cena with Pokemon.
Put the phone up.
Okay.
Put the phone up.
Okay.
But in typical WWE lore, though, it's like they've got this draft, and they're building up the draft, and they're building up.
I gotta catch the Pokemon.
It's. I think. Would it be almost correct to say that at this point the draft is almost overshadowing Battleground?
Yeah, I think the draft's overshadowed just about everything else they've done since they've officially announced it. So,
I mean, just think of the ring guys who have to set everything up. They have to bring those podiums out every week for what? You know, like it's like the guy who's like, you know, right before Hell in the Cell, where they got to keep putting the cell together to hang above the ring. You know, you're like, thanks. How many permits did this take?
Yeah, I mean,
just set up here.
At least they can start saying where announcers are going to go, or giving us a general manager or something.
Because I think what would have been cool is if they would have done what you said. Like you just gave me an idea. Like if they would have named the general managers a few weeks ago, and then had the general managers doing little vignettes, interviewing talent, and saying why should you be on my, like especially the lower card, like social outcasts and stuff. Like why should you come to Raw? Why should you be on SmackDown?
Yeah, have them in the front row scouting, writing down about talent and everything.
Could you see the golden truth out there, and then there's the guy, the general manager with a clipboard, and then just turns around and walks away. Like
yeah, you could actually have some fun with some of that stuff.
That's my key.
Yeah.
How about you brought up the New Day? What about this whole deal with the New Day and Bray Wyatt? What is going on with Xavier Woods? Is this it? Is this the end of the New Day? You think?
Nope.
No. I think it's just a high. It'll finally give the Wyatts a high enough talent to compete with.
I think it's also
put the phone in.
I think it's a way for them to.
You're killing me.
To take away from the whole joke, I guess it would be. Say, how people have commented on how New Day comes out and it's like everything's a joke, and then maybe at least now it's with Xavier Woods turning the way he is.
Yeah,
it's showing that but it's not all a joke to everybody.
But after
he does have a PhD.
After the last interview,
he's told us.
I don't think he's turning. I think he's just trying to show the other two that they need to take this serious.
This is business.
Well,
because he even made the comment, we now have to go fight them on their turf, and it's something we didn't want to do. So I think he is trying to say he understands where this may go.
Do they do a compound match?
I don't.
That's what they're trying to play it like.
Yeah.
You'll come to the compound. Come see us. Find me, as Bray Wyatt says.
They should do the
semi-trailer match. That would be cool. 6-man semi-trailer match. Are you going to get into this?
I would say.
Can they drive around in a circle like they did?
Are you going to get into this or what?
What was that? It was the King of the Road match.
No. It was the uncensored pay-per-view.
Yeah.
With Dustin Rhodes, and they found the longest stretch of some road in.
What? Not only
what
that.
What road was that, Eddie?
Not only that, but I think.
Are there any roads like that straight in Georgia?
I think there was blood that they censored out, if I remember right, too. It was some craziness. So.
That was what Dustin got fired over because of the road agent gives them permission. Yeah, you guys can go right ahead and do what you got to do. They gave the okay for color, as they called it, and then that was it. It was just all of a sudden a switching up, and Arn Anderson apparently was the guy that gave the go ahead to have him cut open, and then Bischoff, of course, gets upset because now he's taking fire from those that just put him in charge at that point. So they had to make the decision to let Dustin Rhodes go. Hopefully, I don't know if you could really pull off a 6-man tag in that situation.
Oh, sure, why not?
Well, I think that pay-per-view was cool until they had the whole Hogan strap match. Well,
was that the one with the backyard brawl too, or backlot brawl?
Oh God!
No, that was WrestleMania with Roddy Piper and Goldust. The
was that
brawl? Yeah.
But no, that was the one where they had Hogan and Earthquake in a strap match, which of course Hogan didn't go against any of the rules in the strap match. It was an Indian strap match, Hogan style.
It was Hogan and Vader.
Earthquake.
Was it
Vader?
John Cena?
Yeah.
John
Cena. They had that
WCW. I've lost my mind.
They had it was.
Yeah, I think he was for a little bit, wasn't he?
I had John Cena.
He was a man.
Yeah, he
was
John
Cena.
Yeah.
I had it somewhere, but it was just. It was a cool pay-per-view in premise, and I think it'd be cool for WWE to do one like that. WWE Uncensored or WWE Unauthorized. And you could have, especially now you have a brand split, you do an unauthorized where if you're on the Raw brand and I'm on the SmackDown brand, why not pick a fight with somebody on another brand? Uncensored, unauthorized,
Yeah, but the WWE doesn't really do a lot of bloodletting either.
Yeah, they don't have a whole lot of faith in doing that anymore. Yeah. When it does happen, it happens more because it's...
Damn, you knew Jack.
But could you imagine if they put New Day versus the Wyatts in an anything goes, no holds barred match?
That would be pretty crazy. It definitely.
There goes Kofi. Like,
oh crap!
Braun Strowman will actually have to have more than 2 moves. Punch, hug, until you pass out.
I mean, maybe he just has bad personal hygiene, and that's why they pass.
Maybe he's just holding him in that stinky pit. You give him what is it, stinky brown or whatever you call it?
Yeah, it's a stinky brown. That's a patented move that I will not divulge to the public. I don't want it running rampant all over the country.
And we'll know where it came from, Michael Cole.
Yeah, we'll know where it came from. That's what I'm waiting for, is for me to legitimately get ripped off with something and be like, I know where that came from. I'm taking you to court.
Good luck. I don't think we have what it takes to beat Jerry McDevitt. I'm just saying.
Well, I mean, you just can't rip off the stinky brown. You know,
the WWE corporate attorneys make the Pope blush. You
might be able to back them down. You
remember back when you were 13? I've got this photo.
hey, buddy, you ripped me off. I want to
take
it to WrestleMania for us.
Did we, Brian?
Yeah. I'm all in.
Here's a picture of you portraying a WWE legend in your backyard.
Yep.
Oh, look, here's another picture.
Doesn't matter. I'm still fighting him. I'm not folding.
Brian will be like, I will have my day in court.
That's right. We're going to court.
Be like that girl who sued McDonald's because it made her fat. I'm going to court. Go ahead. No attorney in their right mind is going to be like, we'll be behind you. Way behind you. Like in the subway going away while you're going in. But anyway.
Wow.
So we got the Patriot tonight.
Yeah.
The Patriot. Not one of those like local federation knockoff Patriots. We got the real deal. Dale Wilkes in the house.
That's right. Not Tom Brady. Not those other guys. We actually have Dale Wilkes. Legitimate Patriot.
He is a Patriot.
And we will do our best to keep Rob on a leash. Rob likes to mark out sometimes with the Patriot. He has red, white, and blue underwear that he's probably wearing right now. There it is, Stan.
Is that brown? What the hell?
Times are tight. Okay.
So is that underwear. So is that underwear, Tiny Whitey.
Oh. Hey, I can fit in my Wrestle Ruse.
There we go. There's another thing that gets ripped off. Wrestle Ruse, right here on Corner to Corner. Well, it was. Now it's on Pro Wrestling Tees.
So I'm looking at the internet the other day, and I come across one of those wrestling loot crates, right? Not the WWE loot crate, but one of those, crates. And they're showing like all the different stuff that you might be able to get out of this, whatever, particular months. And I think one was an autographed China that probably would have been cool. Autographed Ric Flair. There was a couple other autographs, a bunch of little different memorabilia. And then they had one of those old WWE ice cream pops. And I'm just curious.
How do you ship that?
Well, that's what I'm saying. And where did you find like a warehouse full of these WWE ice cream pops? The old
are they safe
nasty
to eat?
little.
Some wrestler who was on the ice cream pop took like a case home.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I'm shaving them one day.
Coco Beware needed,
why would you even show that?
Coco, remember, Stan been making fun of you. So at Legends Fest, pop him right in the nose.
Well, wait a second, though. All fairness, Rob, you did say he wasn't
Hall of Fame
material.
I did say that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, I didn't take away his ring.
Could we get the first
I didn't take away his ring.
Could we get the first
kiss
ever?
the ring.
Whoa!
Take it.
Wow.
Corner to corner versus Coco and Frankie. And the bird gets to fall.
Yeah. I'm tagging out.
On Stan.
And Stan's got a job to Coco.
No, to Frankie. And we're all standing around. Hit a bird.
See, what's going to happen is I'll take the first hit. When I come off the mat, I'm going to act like I got infected. So I'll be like, flapping. And then Stan's going to be like, I'm all by myself.
All right, so
and then Stan gets beat by the monkeys.
Help me, Tom.
Now watch. I told y'all when we go to dinner, we're gonna record some stuff, let people know. Now watch. Somehow or another, he's gonna come up to the table, and it's gonna be fantastic. Not knowing who we are, and then he's gonna be, Oh, Rob.
So
you're the guy. Let's take it out back. Where's Frankie? Frankie!
Hey, Coco. How many zeros on the end of that check that Vince wrote you? Did you get a ring? Now.
He's going to be like, I had a ring until you took it away.
No.
He sold it at Pawn Stars.
What version of the Hall of Fame were you in? The one that got a little plaque or the one that got a ring?
Yeah, right.
You know, like
So he didn't even get to go out to the podium. That's what you're saying.
But I mean, there's that
Back
whole
in the
generation.
day, they just put my picture up there saying I was in the Hall of Fame. That's all I know. Where are my glasses?
But I mean, if you look in the Hall of Fame and the pictures back in the day, it's like, you know, when it first started, it's like they're in like the back locker room holding the plaque.
That's
Like,
gonna be so funny. Thank you. That's gonna be so funny. You know, I should get some money. I should get some money and pay him to walk up behind Rob and just like put his hand on his shoulder and be like, Hall of Fame, huh?
The ring hand.
Yeah, the ring hand. Be like, Hall of Fame, huh? You got one of these? You want one? In your noggin?
I don't have one, but I can buy one on eBay in about 30 seconds.
Well, Tammy Stitch is going to be there. Maybe we can sell her back first.
There goes more $100. I promise you, Stan.
Well,
I didn't tell you.
Stan's not going to need Skype. He gold member. He a gold circle member.
Stan gonna
Don't
get him
y'all
a
like
video.
how the... Oh, you better not talk about... Don't talk about Sonny on the show or she'll like hate you on the media.
Oh, that's fine.
She doesn't take too kindly to people making fun of her.
I'm not making
But
fun
she'll
of
give you a 20% discount on her book and pictures and DVD.
And for $30, she'll let you talk to her for a minute.
She don't let you talk to
Expensive.
Is she going back to that? Yeah, it's expensive. It's good money.
She's just fresh out of rehab, though.
What would she do if one day Hogan called up and be like, "You want to make a video?"
Hulkamania Media is
My buddy.
wild.
My
The
buddy.
little python all done up like Hogan. I'll make a video.
Bubba the Hose Sponge. We've got some camera.
Help us, Eddie. Help us.
Hold on, but this time Hogan would have to bring in Knobs or Bruce. Apparently they come everywhere he goes.
A stunt dog.
Wow. Wow. Hey, Terry. And how does Brutus get invited to the NWA Legends Fest?
Eddie.
Yes.
was Brutus Beefcake ever in the NWA? Because I think I missed that chapter.
Remember, it is no longer the NWA Legends Fest. It is actually the Mid-Atlantic Legends Fest. I don't know about the Mid-Atlantic area. What?
Dang it.
I say again, was he ever in the Mid-Atlantic area? Because I'm not really remembering.
I'm pretty sure
Tammy Sitch ever.
WCW.
Well, it depends on what
Tammy
part.
Sitch was, wasn't she? With Chris Candido.
Oh, yeah. NWA Smoky Mountain and all that stuff.
Wasn't they even WCW? Wasn't he
True.
WCW
True.
for a bit?
Yep.
So I guess they qualify for, Mid-Atlantic.
Now, when they put the Road Warriors
Hands
and
up
Paul
Rockets.
Ellering in, does they put in Rocco in too?
No, he was north. He was not Mid-Atlantic.
Rocco was not Mid-Atlantic, thank God.
Yeah, Rocco was not Mid-Atlantic. Neither was Draws.
I wonder if like Paul Ellering ever sits back going,
Heimlich.
God, that was a lot.
Oh, Heidenreich. Yeah, he wasn't Mid-Atlantic.
He's got up here.
It's my Vince McMahon impression for the night.
And Road Warrior Animals just sitting there going,
Hey, there's another show here locally that I picked up on that has, I think it's locally. It's got a whole bunch of former stars coming. It's like a 2-day event or something. I think it might only be just the one, but there's 5 or 6 people. Animal's one of them. So,
you know, it'd be great if I could get a hardback cover of his book signed.
You know, were you talking about the show in Manassas?
My hardback cover book.
Brian,
What?
were you referring to the show in Manassas last night?
No, it wasn't last night.
It's either last night or the 19th, one or the other.
Stan Grubb.
We're going to change our name to Just Missed It by a,
By that,
Just that's it. Just missed the ring by a corner.
Oh, boo.
And that way Stan can still do his own show,
Yeah, but
to
again, there was a whole bunch of them. Nah, don't worry. I think Eddie will put you back with quarter.
I guess
no problem.
Oh no!
You hear both of them?
No.
And we've got dead air.
There you go.
We're all three in the same room, so Eddie can't disconnect Brian's mic.
Brian,
hold on. I don't know how that happened.
If you've never really noticed the board that I use in here, all I have to do is come over here and press this little.
Whoops! Got us.
Well,
hello.
Ladies and gentlemen, now replaying. We'll now be replaying Eddie saying the phone book.
Hey,
that worked for Andy Kaufman, didn't it? Didn't he do that?
Yeah, I think he did.
yeah, he did.
A for Andy Kaufman.
Since we brought him up and we're just killing time for a little bit.
And Dale Wilkes is listening, going, "The hell if I'm calling in there."
I remember watching that on ESPN, the feud, and that was actually a quite decent feud for a non-wrestler.
Yeah.
And the King of Memphis. I mean, they actually pulled that off pretty good.
Did you see who's back on TV?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Suspended indefinitely.
I mean, they dropped the charges. They let him go.
You didn't see that coming? 66-year-old Jerry Lawler, 27-year-old fiance. Come on now.
Okay, do me a favor.
Memphis of all places. It's not like he's going to go and
calls the TV station from the jail.
If he's got when he passes away, will his house become as famous as Graceland? You think he's at that level?
In Memphis, it could.
Yes.
Well, I would say Graceland is probably one of the tackiest houses I've ever seen.
Well, yeah, but it was
How
back in
dare you besmirch the king?
Yeah, that was back in the day when tacky was cool.
Well, see, what's funny is when I toured it years ago, you walk into the one room and there's 3 TVs on the wall, and I'm thinking, oh, wow, wait a minute. You have to get up, and it's the dial TV. I'm like, what the fuck?
And it doesn't
get somebody to do that for him.
Yeah, it doesn't get tacky until you move into the house. When you go in, the first couple rooms are like, oh, okay, this is, man, nice, look at this. And you get to the back, there's like all the shag carpeted walls that are 12 feet high.
Well, see, one thing I've always wanted to do is I've always wanted to hire the best Elvis impersonator I could find. And then have them come from down, because you never go upstairs. Mm-hmm. And so what you do is we wait till a tour group comes in. You have him come down from upstairs to the toilet, like with like a newspaper under his arm. Like, what the hell y'all doing in here?
That's going too far.
No, I've got a guy who could do that for you. Wait. I've got a guy who can do that for you. He's based out of Birmingham. His name is Rob Langford. He is a top-tier Elvis tribute artist. I've worked with him a number of times. He's a longtime friend. He would actually, if he could get clearance and not get shot, he would actually love to do something like that.
You know, Rob,
but I mean, you imagine if he came from upstairs, or maybe just come out of the bathroom and just act like it's no big deal. Be like, hey, don't go in there, and just keep on walk by.
No, if he comes down the steps with the newspaper in his arm, it's like, look, anybody want to go to the bathroom up there? You better want to wait 20, 30 minutes. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And somewhere down south, the devil himself had just said, I just recruited 2 more.
And for our friends in the southeastern U.S., look him up, Elvis Rob Productions.
Well, the thing is, like, if you ever feel good about yourself and you go to Graceland, don't go to the racquetball room.
Or the bad room, the bad room.
Or the champagne room.
No.
There's no sex in the champagne room.
Because
I'm a king.
Got some Quaaludes in the living room, some vitamins in the back.
And all of a sudden, we've turned Elvis Latino.
Okay, do me a favor, real quick. Now, I know there was a show last night in Montvale, Virginia. Pure Pro Wrestling was at the Montvale Rec Center, 1182 Pike Road. Once again, that's last night, Saturday, July the 9th. I'm trying to figure out if it's on next weekend that the show you're talking about is, but also I'm looking at, before we go to break, All-Star Wrestling was last night in Madison, West Virginia. Vicious Outcast Wrestling last night in Morgantown, West Virginia, and West Virginia Championship Wrestling, of course, in Princeton, where? West Virginia. We've got the calendar back on BeyondRingside.com for everybody listening. Wrestling promoters, sports promoters, send us the information for pro wrestling, Stamper at WrestleReality.com. For mixed martial arts, boxing, and all other sporting events, BeyondRingside at gmail.com. Get it to us by Tuesday morning, 12:01 a.m. Eastern, so that we can get everything formatted and get it up on the website by Wednesday.
And eventually we will get our shit together. There it is.
Yep, there it was.
Out there it is. Mark the time. And we will eventually start going to some of these local shows.
Support your local independents as long as you're,
Corner to Corner is available for bookings at these local shows if you'd like us to.
We can do play-by-play.
They'll do Mystery Science 3 or 3000 on your ass.
The three of us on play-by-play. Yeah, that would be great. One of us could call all the moves right, and the other two would just be goofing off.
That's not what that is.
What do you call that, Stan?
What a debacle.
That'd be about
With that move, you can beat John Cena.
You can't say that.
Well, it's that magical time. Let's go ahead and take our first break of the evening.
When we can't count us down.
Back, we have the one and only Stars and Stripes himself, the Patriot Del
Mr.
Wilkes.
America.
No,
Oh, you're fired. That's it. You're fired.
Del Wilkes in the house when we come back.
All right, we'll be right back. Stick with us right here at BeyondRingside.com. What's up, everybody? It's Stan Grubb for Corner to Corner Wrestling Radio and the Beyond Ringside Radio Network. Hey, join us every Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as the triple threat of wrestling radio goes live every week, giving you their thoughts and opinions on the world of professional wrestling. Myself, Brian, and Rob, all live, all here for you. And as my good friend Rob would say, from corner to corner and pillar to post, we bring it to you every week at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. BeyondRingside.com and ProWrestlingRadio.net.
Sunday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern here on BeyondRingside.com. Join us for the Midnight Black Mass. Myself, the Reverend Dan Wilson, brings you the dark gospel of professional wrestling, uncensored, unedited, uncut, and not for the faint of heart. You can find out more about us at youtube.com/pottyhumor or subscribe at Potty Humor on iTunes and Stitcher today.
The To Be Determined show live Wednesday nights, 9 Central Standard Time. Join myself, the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis, the Grand Design, Clyde Braddock, and the Magic City Monroe, Fast Eddie Lane, as we take you to the edge of uncensored. Yes, we go uncensored, so make sure you have your earmuffs. Ask your parents, for those of you that are a little young, maybe under 18, but make sure if you have any heart conditions or any mental defects, please listen, because they may take effect right here, live, every Wednesday night, 9 Central Standard Time. Beyond Ringside Radio Network, BeyondRingside.com.
Howdy, friends. This is the Magic City Motormouth, Fast Eddie Lane, with your invitation to join yours truly, along with Mark Mabo Bowman and the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis, every Sunday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 3:30 p.m. Pacific, for Beyond Ringside Live. Wrestling, mixed martial arts, sports talk, and a whole lot more. Keep your eyes open on BeyondRingside.com for all of upcoming show information, and of course, catch us on social media as well. Until then, we'll see you this Sunday, 6:30 Eastern, for Beyond Ringside Live on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Corner Wrestling Radio, right here on the Beyond Ringside Network. ProWrestlingRadio.net and BeyondRingside.com. I am so pumped up. Joining us tonight, the one and only Del Wilkes, the Patriot.
The Patriot!
How you doing, man? It's good to have you on.
It's good to be on. Appreciate you guys having me.
Not a problem. Hey, listen, we have been doing research, and we were kind of watching some different clips and everything, and I don't know if you remember, I'm sure you do, because, it was your career and all, but I watched old footage of you winning the North American Championship in Global. Probably one of my favorite times in pro wrestling, man. That was huge fan.
Well, that was a great time for me. It was an exciting time for me, and I do remember that. Now, there's a lot of my career I don't remember. I guess it's sort of like they said about the 60s. If you can remember it, you really want a part of it. My wrestling career, a lot of it's that way. Thank God for video, so I can actually, relive some of that and go, oh, yeah, I did do that. Oh, yeah, I did wrestle that guy. But I do remember that. That was a really exciting time. You know, Global was just getting started, and it was mixed with a lot of guys that were working their way up, that were young, up and coming, with a lot of veteran guys. And we really thought that it was a company that could really, you know, be that third company to challenge eventually Vince and Turner. But it just didn't work out that way. They didn't have the money, the cash to make that thing last, but it was fun while it lasted.
I mean, Global actually was a starting point for a lot of guys. I mean, even your future tag partner, Marcus Bagwell.
Oh, absolutely. Me, Bagwell. You know, you had Sean Waltman there. There were a lot of guys that came through there that were in the infancy of their career that went on to have great careers. And I'll tell you, I mean, literally, probably, I know a weekly basis, I hear from wrestling fans that, man, what an exciting time for me as a kid, as a teenager, to get home from school and to get my homework done, and then at 4 o'clock to turn the TV on, or at least 4 Eastern time, on ESPN, and to watch the Global Wrestling Federation. I've had thousands and thousands of conversations with wrestling fans that go, man, it was just a part of our life as a teenager. We just couldn't wait to get home Monday through Friday so we could watch pro wrestling at 4 o'clock in the afternoon on ESPN.
Now, I remember that time, too, because that was one of my favorite things when I got home as well, is always being able to turn on ESPN. And it was the AWA or Global or down in Texas. I mean, the ESPN has such quality programming. So when you were coming up, who did you like to watch the most?
Well, when I was coming up, like I said earlier, I'm 54 years old, so when I was coming up, you know, territories were still what ruled wrestling. And as a kid, I was born and raised in Columbia, South Carolina, with the exception of 5 years, been here my entire life. And so we got Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling every Saturday morning with Bob Cobble, and I got to see guys like Wahoo and Jack and Jerry Briscoe, Rip Hawk, Swede Hansen, Paul Jones, Nelson Royal. And the very first live show I ever went to, I was 10 years old, and it was at the Township Auditorium in my hometown of Columbia. And the only thing I can tell you about the card that night, the main event, was Jack and Jerry Briscoe against Rip Hawk and Swede Hansen. And I was such a Jack Briscoe mark. I mean, I've always been a big sports fan and just devoured sports. I mean, as a 10-year-old kid, I could give you the lineup for the Oakland A's and the Big Red Machine in '76 when I was, 14 or 15 years old. So I knew my sports, and it just was so important to me to follow it, to keep up with it, to be knowledgeable of it. But Jack Briscoe to me was larger than life. I was a Rams fan as a kid, Los Angeles Rams. Roman Gabriel, Merlin Olsen were my favorite players, but they paled in comparison to Jack Briscoe, dude. I mean, Jack Briscoe was everything to me. And so that's what I saw as a kid. And then on Saturday nights at 11:30, we would get a rerun of Florida Championship Wrestling with Gordon Soley. But Mid-Atlantic was what I grew up on and cut my teeth on.
Yeah, I prefer the Mid-Atlantic, Crockett area myself. But, nowadays, the only wrestling you really get to see is the WWE. And, again, back in the 70s and 80s on ESPN, you got a little bit of everything. And
well, you did, and I was fortunate to be a part of two companies that were on ESPN in the afternoon. I was in the AWA working as the trooper, and, we had that time spot on ESPN from 4 to 5 o'clock. And then when that company folded, and, not too long after that, I went to work for the GWF, and we ended up with that same time spot on ESPN from 4 to 5 o'clock. So ESPN played a big part in my career in really helping me become an established name, even though the AWA was really on life support when I was there. Still, that was national TV. It gave me an opportunity 5 days a week to be on nationwide TV And at that time, ESPN did go into other parts of the world as well. And then you follow that up with the opportunity to work for Global, and again, to be on nationwide TV with ESPN. I mean, that was invaluable. It just really, really helped boost my career.
Dale, you said that you were not only a huge sports fan, but also one thing that we do know about you and that you've really got a lot of time in was football. South Carolina Gamecocks.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about this upcoming college season?
Well, we're excited here as Gamecock fans. Obviously, last year was a long year for us. It was a tough year. You know, we had 3 consecutive 11-win seasons. With the last of those 3, ended up ranked 4th in the nation. And then we had talent coming through here like Jadeveon Clowney, Marcus Lattimore, Stephon Gilmore, South Carolina talent, homegrown South Carolina boys. And toward the end of Coach Spurrier's career, things just sort of fell off, and they didn't recruit like they needed to. And, of course, he retired mid-season last year. And now we've got Will Muschamp, and everybody's excited about it. We're excited about the new staff. They've done a great job of recruiting. They've done a great job. Coach Muschamp has put a phenomenal staff together, a staff that has got guys. There are 3 guys on that staff that within the last 5 years, those 3 guys at different times were voted the top recruiter in the country. So we've got great recruiters on this staff. Now, the only thing is we've got to give this staff time because they did not inherit a lot of talent. We really don't have any playmakers. We don't have any established wide receivers, running backs, quarterback. We're really, really thin in our defensive backfield. So I think that Coach Muschamp will do a good job, but I would just caution South Carolina fans to be patient and give them time because we could be a better team than we were last year, but not win but 4 or 5 ball games. So we play, outside of the NFL, we play in the toughest conference in America, the SEC. So you can be improved and it not show up in that win-loss column. So we just need to be patient and give this staff time to do what we feel like they're capable of doing.
Eddie, I know you had something that you were bringing up.
You made a reference, Mr. Wilkes, just a couple of minutes ago to something that just really tripped in strong with me. You made the reference to that even though the AWA was not a physically strong company when you were there as the trooper, you sounded appreciative of the fact that it was actually national television. First off, I genuinely appreciate the sense of sincerity that you had when you said that. Second off, it's going to sound like I'm putting you on the spot, and I don't want to, but I want your honest opinion on this one. In this day and time, when you've got products like The Fed, like Impact, like Lucha Underground, like Ring of Honor, that are all on national television, do you think, in your humble opinion, based on what you've seen on the internet, you see it on Twitter, you see it on social media, you hear it from different people, are fans and workers as appreciative now of that national television exposure as we were 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 25 years ago?
Good question, and one that's probably tough to answer. I think guys nowadays, I broke into the business as the territories were dying out. There were still some territories, but they were really struggling.
Right.
Vince had taken his company nationwide. Of course, Turner had bought WCW, and so that was on a nationwide basis as well. So I did get to experience a little bit of the territories by working in the AWA. I spent some time in Mid-South working there for Jerry Jarrett and Jerry Lawler. So, and they were struggling too. But the guys and girls that work today really have known nothing other than being with companies that have nationwide and worldwide TV. So I don't know that they truly can appreciate how fortunate they are for those of us that broke into the business when, that was just becoming the norm, a company that went worldwide and nationwide. And I'm extremely grateful. Let me tell you, I'm extremely grateful for a guy like Wahoo McDaniel who discovered me one night working one of Moolah's shows. Wahoo took me under his wing and made sure that for the next couple of years, wherever Wahoo got booked, Dell got booked. He introduced Dell to Vern Gagne because Wahoo was working for Vern at the time. He was still working in the ring, and he was also working in the office as well and helping evaluate and book talent. And the AWA at that time was just basically a TV company. We'd run a spot show here and there, but basically everything we did was TV tapings. But still, Vern Gagne, Greg Gagne, Wahoo McDaniel, Ray Stevens, who was living with Wahoo as well, those guys gave me an opportunity. They saw something in me. They saw potential. They saw some sort of talent. And I have talked to a lot of people in the business that have not had kind things to say about Vern for whatever reason. But I've always tried to form my opinion about someone based on how they treated me. I don't know how he treated somebody else, but I can tell you what he did for Del Wilkes and how he treated Del Wilkes, and he gave me an opportunity. And that opportunity exposed me to a nationwide TV audience, even though that company was struggling. So I'll always be grateful and appreciative for those men that gave me that opportunity.
You talk about Wahoo McDaniel and Vern Gagne and a lot of these guys that have taken wrestlers under their wing and really helped them to blossom out and become bigger stars. When you made the transition to WCW, was there anybody there that you took under your wing in that same fashion?
Well, in some capacity, I felt like I did with Marcus. Not Vern, but Greg Gagne was working for WCW. They were doing everything by committee, booking by committee. There were, I don't know how many guys that were on that booking committee. Bischoff was now in charge at WCW, and if you guys remember, he did our TV show when I worked in the AWA. He was our mic guy. And so they came to me one night, and I came in as a singles wrestler. I signed a 3-year deal with WCW, thinking that I was going to be a singles performer, wrestler. But they came to me with the idea of working with Marcus, and Marcus was a good talent and had great potential. But, I was more of an established name at that point. I'd already worked for All Japan, so that was done not only as they thought this team had potential, this big mass guy and this good-looking young guy in Bagwell, but it was also, too, for me to sort of take Bagwell under my wing and just share with him some things I had learned and some of the experiences I had and, hopefully just help him out in any way that I could. So I felt like to a certain extent that I did that with Marcus. Not that Marcus was this raw talent, at that time, unproven talent. He certainly wasn't. But, I'd been around a little bit longer and was a little bit more of an established name at that time. So I tried to help Marcus in, any way that I could.
Now, with your time in WCW, what are some of the, what would be, like, just a couple of the memories, like, that when you think back about your time in WCW, that you really say, hey, that was some good times?
Well, not a lot of it. Obviously, being able to build a strong friendship with Marcus, one that exists to this day. Talked to Marcus quite a bit. Matter of fact, talked with him yesterday. So that's something that I cherish and meant a lot to me. The fact that they put the tag team belts on us twice. That's something, too, that's a fine memory and a highlight of my time in WCW. There were some good tag teams there. The Nasty Boys, Harlem Heat, Pretty Wonderful, Orndorff and Roma. Bobby Eaton and Steve Regal were together. So there were a lot of good tag teams there, and to put the belts on us twice, I think said a lot about us. But outside of that, that's probably about the only positive thing that I take away from WCW. It just wasn't. I signed a 3-year deal with them, and I think I did 2 years of it, and walked out the last year of mine. I think I walked out on that last year. I think I'd done 2 years. Very unhappy. Went there with a lot of high hopes, a lot of expectations about what could be. And about a year and a half into it, of course, they get the big coup by signing Hogan away from Vince. And, of course, they brought in a lot of friends of Hogan. Along with that Hogan signing comes Savage, comes Beefcake, and some of the other buddies of Hogan. And then that was then the focal point of that company was Hulk Hogan and Hulk Hogan's buddies. And those of us that weren't a buddy of Hulk Hogan, that we weren't in that inner circle of guys that kissed up to Hogan, then you really were just an afterthought. So, it just, you could see the handwriting on the wall. And I went to Eric, and I had an opportunity to go back to All Japan. Baba had approached me about coming back. I left Baba on good terms to go to work for WCW. And, I said, hey, dude, in talking to Eric, got a chance to go back. I'm going to be halfway around the world. Nobody in the United States of America is going to see me wrestle, not going to see me work. Nothing that Baba does comes on TV here in the States. Will you let me go? And he said no. So I walked and went back anyway. So I got some highlights that I take from WCW, but not many.
I mean, it's a tough thing to go through when you see talent come in there ahead of you, even though you've put in the work, you've put in the effort, and you've definitely put in the time. There's something to be said for the signing of Hulk Hogan. I mean, that is a big deal, but I can certainly understand the frustration point because from just from a fan of watching what you did on television, you had earned your stripes. No pun intended.
No, I certainly agree. And there were other guys in the company there at the time that, believe me, Steve Austin being one. I had many conversations with Steve about, just the frustration of it all being now about Hogan and his friends. And, of course, Steve went through that ordeal before we were in Orlando taping our syndicated shows at MGM Studios. And I guess Hogan had found this guy, the Renegade, somewhere, and they were giving him this gigantic push just so eventually he could do a job for Hogan, and they wanted Austin to put him over, at Disney Studios, and Austin refused to do it, and of course that eventually led to him being fired and released, let go, whatever you want to call it. But there were a lot of us that were frustrated that we had worked hard. We had busted our hump. And believe me, Hogan, listen, that was the biggest name in the business at the time. I get it. I get the fact that's a big deal for your company to sign him. But, just to kick sand in the rest of us in our faces and just say, look, your loyalty to us, your hard work for us, what you've done in the ring means nothing now. Take a back seat. We'll talk to you, down the road. So just got very frustrating, not only for me, but for many others.
Well, as history will tell us, or Hogan will do it to another company too. So
absolutely,
TNA. I mean, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
But I see that your DVD's out. How's that going? And have you gotten a lot of good feedback? And what's the feedback been?
Nothing but positive feedback. It's been out, I guess, about a year now. And I tell you, man, we've shipped those things literally all over the world to wrestling fans that have bought them. You can go to my website, www.delthepatriotwilkes.com, and get the DVD there. Not only the DVD, you can get masks, 8x10s, pictures, posters, just a long list of items that you can get from the website. But the thing that we sell the most of is the DVD. And it's a 3-disc set. It's 7 hours. And one of the discs is basically nothing but matches from All Japan. And you got other guys on there that agreed to be part of this project that you also see and hear. Stan Hansen, Greg Gagne, Marcus Bagwell, Bobby Fulton, George South, Bill Apter, also Bruce Pritchard. So you got a lot of great talent on there that helped us with this. But we've had nothing but positive feedback from it because it encapsulates my whole life. I mean, my mom's on there, my son's on there, my youngest son. And so we take you from childhood through my football career, also on there. Not many guys can say that they blocked for a Heisman Trophy winner. But my teammate, George Rogers, who won the 1980 Heisman Trophy at the University of South Carolina, is a part of it. And So, there's a lot there, football fans, wrestling fans, and there's just the life story as well of the struggles I went through after my career ended, and just the depths that we went through with the horrible addiction to pain medication, and then the redemptive side of that story. Heck, I even ended up going to prison. So all that's there. We're very transparent about the highs, the lows, the good, the bad, the ugly parts of my life. And I had a lady, a wrestling fan here a few months back that told me, she said, I tell you, she goes, it was informative. I learned things that I'd never learned or never knew about football, about wrestling. She goes, it was funny. She goes, I laughed, and she goes, I cried. I mean, to see my mom on there getting emotional, talking about her oldest son, having to go visit him in prison, and just how that hurt her and just crushed her, and to see how emotional she got talking about that. So it's funny, it's sad, it's happy, it's just it'll take you through a wide range of emotions. And Michael Elliott did a fabulous job in putting this together and producing it. Did a wonderful job.
Well, as a wrestling fan who likes the history of the business, I want to thank you for actually being truthful and putting it out there. I know it probably wasn't easy to put it out there for the world to see, but it was very eye opening and it's a great documentary.
Well, I appreciate it, and it's not that easy to sit down and to know that potentially thousands of people could see this and watch it, and you bear all. You open up and say, here I am. I'm a very, very flawed man. I had great success, and then I had some horrible, horrible times that was self-inflicted and self-induced. And you go from walking the aisle at places like Madison Square Garden and Budokan Hall in Tokyo, Japan, and then the next thing you know, you're being led to a prison cell, shackled and handcuffed with South Carolina Department of Corrections in big letters on the shirt across your back. So, it was tough to open up and bare your soul about the big mess that I'd made of my life at that point in time. But we did so because we thought it may be able to help somebody else. And I've gotten feedback from other people that said, hey, man, listen, I struggled with the same thing, and it was very helpful to me. It gave me hope that I can go through what you went through and that I can survive it. There is an answer. There is a way to overcome this addiction with whatever drug it may be. So, we did so with the hopes of it being able to help just one person,
I mean, there's a lot of that going on right now with the conversation that, of course, about Behind the Mask, and also with a documentary that just recently was released as far as the resurrection of Jake Roberts, or Jake the Snake. Have you had a chance to watch that?
I haven't, but that's on my to-do list. Is I want to see it. I know Jake. I don't know Jake well. We weren't close, but being in the same industry, I've known Jake and spent some time with him, and I can relate to what he's gone through. Believe me, there's so many of us in that business that can, and knowing the struggles that Jake had and the demons he's had to deal with, and just the personal issues and the family issues. And what's great about it is there's always hope. No matter how many times a guy is given an opportunity, and believe me, Jake was given a lot. And how many times you heard, man, Jake's got it together now. And listen, that was the same, could have been, or was said of me several times. It looks like Wilkes has finally got his act together. And then Jake stumbles and falls again. Dell stumbles and falls again. But there's that hope that, man, if you just keep on getting up, you may fall again. But just get up. Do it again. I mean, eventually you may get it right. And eventually it may work. And it seems that Jake's at that point in his life, and proud of him, and just very thankful that he's alive and has an opportunity to have a story to tell.
If I could, I'm going to jump in for one short second. Folks, for you listening live, and if you're listening on replay through all the different sources that are available, point a web browser to ELLBOW, elbowproductions.weebly.com. That is the home of Michael Elliott and Elbow Productions. I'm very familiar with Mr. Elliott's work. We've had him on Beyond Ringside Sports Radio a number of times to promote some of his newer DVD as he has put out different sets. And if you get the chance to, and which I really hope you will, the DVD set Behind the Mask for the Patriot, Del Wilkes, only $25 through that website. Now, Del, how else can people get a hold of that DVD set?
Well, the other way is just at live events where I am, doing personal appearances and signings and things like that, and we do quite a few of those. We stay busy throughout the course of the year. As a matter of fact, the next one will be August the 13th, Saturday, August the 13th in Dublin, Georgia. I'll be there in just a long list of superstars: Paul Orndorff, Ricky Steamboat, Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard, Ron Simmons, Larry Zbyszko. Just going to be a lot of great professional wrestlers, retired professional wrestlers there. So you can get it through the website, or you can get it at any of the live events that we're at.
Now, Dublin, what's the name of the company that's running the signing that you're going to be at?
Ooh, boy. Good question, and it's right on the tip of my tongue. And bear with me a second. I probably can give it to you. This would be the first time that I've worked for this company, and I should be able to just rattle off the name of the company, but maybe I can get it to you before we're done here.
Tell you what, Mr. Wilkes, how long do you have some time to work with?
Oh, absolutely.
Stan?
Hey, well, we got to go ahead and take our top of the hour break here, Mr. Wilkes. That's going to be just a couple of moments, and when we come back, folks, we will be live still with the Patriot. We'll talk to him a little bit about some of the challenges he faced and what it ultimately was that helped him get his road to redemption back on track.
The Patriot.
The Patriot.
The Patriot.
Not the other guy. The Patriot.
This one.
And it's Dublin Sports Entertainment. That's the name of the company, guys.
Okay.
We'll be right back, folks, right here on Beyond Ringside Radio Network, beyondringside.com, and ProWrestlingRadio.net. Stick with us. Welcome back to Corner to Corner right here on BeyondRingside.com, ProWrestlingRadio.net. The Triple Threat is in the house, and we are live on the air with the one and only Del Wilkes, the Patriot. Del, thank you so much for sticking with us tonight. We really appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me. I'm enjoying it.
Well, it's always a pleasure to have a good guest on, but somebody that is always on the forefront of wrestling fans' minds when you think about the early 90s, the Attitude Era, Japan. I mean, you've pretty much done everything that there really is to do from that perspective.
Go ahead. No, I was very fortunate that basically every major company that was in existence during my career, I worked for them. So I got to do a lot.
So, not to go through a negative connotation, but I do want to ask you, because I know that we've mentioned it and you've talked about it. At one point in time, you were battling injuries, whether it was your shoulder or your back, and we have talked about it before. But for fans that are maybe just catching in for the first time and just getting a chance to listen, you had some injuries that ultimately challenged you and put you in a position where you were battling with addiction with painkillers. And when we last spoke with you, and of course there's an interview that you've done, of course, with Steve Austin, that you really described it in pretty good detail. If you could kind of give us a perspective from you, of course, how you battled that. What was it that ultimately turned you around? I mean, I know that you faced a lot, both from going to prison and also dealing with having to look people in the eye that knew you and respected you from one end to the other. How did you finally get to that turning point?
Well, they say that you'll never overcome that hurdle until you hit rock bottom. And I can't tell you what rock bottom is. I don't know. You would think that, okay, I was arrested. I don't say this bragging. I say it just to show you how bad I was. My rap sheet's about 6.5 pages long. I had almost 30 arrests for forging prescriptions or obtaining prescriptions by fraudulent means. And you would think that the embarrassment of that would be your rock bottom, being fined, being put on probation, spending a couple of weeks in a county jail, going to rehab 4 times, court-ordered rehab. You'd think the threat of losing your family, of course, I'd made a lot of money. That money was going out the window at a high rate of speed. You would think all those things, when they happen, would go, okay, that's got to be his rock bottom, and the guy's going to straighten out now. But I never saw a rock bottom until eventually I had a judge who I stood before on 2 other occasions, and on those 2 occasions had shown mercy and leniency and trying to give me every opportunity he could to keep from having to lock me up and send me away for any amount of time. He finally said, Mr. Wilkes, I've tried probation, I've tried rehab with you, and he goes, you've left me no other choice but to sentence you to 5 years in the South Carolina Department of Corrections, and that will be suspended down to 18 months. And, of course, of those 18 months, I did just a little less than a year. And it was there that reality just kicked you right in the gut. And you realize, okay, this is not a lockup at a county detention center, and I'm not going to go before a judge in the morning and be bonded out. This is a real deal. I'm locked up in a real-life prison. This is what's happened to me. I've gone from being an All-American football player at the University of South Carolina, an opportunity in the NFL, didn't work out, but at least the opportunity, in a very successful wrestling career, a father of 3, a brother, a son. Heck, I couldn't even be a good citizen at that point. And when you realize that this is it, dude, this is where my life has ended up at. And it was there, too, that I went back to faith and my trust in the Lord. And I just said, Lord, look, here I am. You're finally free of the influence that drugs have on your ability to think, because you can't get them. Or you could, I guess, but I didn't in prison. I chose not to. So now I'm becoming clear-headed, and I'm able to think normal now. And I'm realizing, and I said, Lord, I have made a royal mess of this thing. Doing things my way has got me right here where I'm at. I've lost my family, my finances, friendships, freedom. And I said, there's no way I can make this thing right without your help. And just relying on my faith and my trust and confidence in the Lord, but realizing that I had a choice, and my mom come to see me one day in prison. And guys, let me tell you, the hardest thing I've ever done in my life was walk out to a visitation area in a prison yard in the state of South Carolina to visit my mom. She had gone to see her oldest son, the one that was supposed to be the level-headed one of the group, the one that was, Dale's my rock. He's the one I can count on of doing things right. And now she's having to come visit me in a prison jumpsuit in a prison visitation yard. That was tough. I was embarrassed. I was humiliated. But she told me on that first visit, she said, you'll either come back here when you get out if you don't turn this thing around, or I'll be going to a graveyard somewhere to put flowers on your headstone, or you'll take this opportunity that you've been given a second chance at life, not a second, but by that time a 25th chance in life, and you'll make something out of it. And fortunately, through the help of the Lord, I was able to walk out of prison on Valentine's Day 2003, and I've not been before a judge since then. There's not been the bond hearing since then. I've been able to live a normal, productive, drug-free life. And so that's what did it for me.
Well, now speaking of that, and we're aware of the WWE's wellness policy, and we're aware of what they try to do for past superstars. Have they ever tried to bring you in and let you speak to these younger talents as somebody that actually walked through something that God knows how many people never did? You're very lucky. Scott Hall's lucky. Jake the Snake's lucky. But there's pages of names of people that never made it through. Have they ever brought you in or asked you to talk to anybody or anything like that?
No, they never have. And I would certainly be glad to do that if they ever did, if they were to reach out to me. They never have. Now, I do get the opportunity to share my testimony with youth groups, church groups, business functions. So I do quite a bit of that. But you bring up a good point, and I don't know if we talked about this the last time we were together, but about 2 years ago, it was on a Sunday afternoon, my wife and I come home from church, and I took out a yellow legal pad, and I said, Kathy, I want you to do something for me. And I gave her a pen. I said, I want you to write down every name that I'm getting ready to give you. And she said, what are we doing? I said, I'm going to give you the name of every guy and girl I can think of that they wrestled while I wrestled. We may not have been good buddies, friends. We may not have even worked for the same company, but their careers existed at the same time mine did. We were in the same business together at the same time, whether it was the beginning of their career or the end. And I came up with 85 names of people that are no longer with us. And I'm not exaggerating when I say of those 85 names, there may be one hand, 5, maybe 2 hands, 6 or 7, that died of what you would consider somewhat natural causes: cancer, car wreck. Dino Bravo was murdered. But the overwhelming majority of them died. It's like that Bad Company song, bottle of whiskey, empty bottles by the bed, pill bottles by the bed. Guys and girls that were good people, that were living the dream, working their rear end off at an occupation they loved, they dreamed of doing, and so many of them, that same thing that got me, and I'm very fortunate, like Jake, like Scott Hall, to be able to talk about it today, but they can't, because it got them, and it killed them, and it took their life. So it has been something, and let me tell you, you know as well as I do, if there were any other line of work out there, any other high-profile type business where that high number of people had lost their lives for football, baseball, basketball, where that many of them had lost their lives due to the lifestyle that they lived, there'd probably be a congressional investigation into it. But it has definitely had a horrible, horrible effect on pro wrestling. Lost a lot of good people. Good people.
I mean, when you talk about some of the good people that you've worked with, I mean, looking at your career over time, I mean, you've spent time in the ring and backstage with guys like Dusty Rhodes, who just recently passed away. What was his influence on you?
Well, Dusty, when I was in WCW, Dusty was there. Dusty was one of the guys that worked on the booking committee. I never really got close to Dusty. I've had conversations with Dusty where we sat down and just talked about the business, talked about football, talked about life, other things. So Dusty's really influence on me was, as a young kid, I was telling you earlier that Jack Briscoe was just, I love Jack Briscoe. But I remember the first time I ever saw Dusty Rhodes do an interview, on TV, I was blown away. I thought, you've got to be kidding me, dude. I was mesmerized. I would watch wrestling from then on just to see Dusty, just to wait on Dusty to come out and do a promo. WTBS, 6:05 p.m., Saturday afternoons. I'm waiting on somewhere in that 2 hours from 6:05 to 8:05. I'm going to see a Dusty Rhodes interview. So never got to be that close to Dusty in a professional sense, but definitely had an influence on me as far as just helping develop even more that love for pro wrestling and that desire to be a pro wrestler.
So, when you left WCW, you went to All Japan, you found your way into working with the Eagle, which the tag team wrestling that you had there was tremendous. You worked with guys from Stan Hansen, Vader. I mean, you were working in the midst of what we know as strong style. When you hear fans today talking about strong style like NXT with Nakamura and what New Japan does now, do you kind of snicker because of what you did comparatively?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you better believe it. To give you an example of my introduction in the strong style, my first tour of Japan, for All Japan, and listen, of all the stops in my career, from AWA to Global to WCW, WWF, no matter where it was, the thing that I'm most proud of is that I worked twice for Mr. Baba. And at a very, one of the top guys, one of the top Americans there. We did business that was phenomenal. We sold out everywhere we went. And I worked with one of the greatest lineup of talents you could ever possibly put together. But I'll never forget that our first tour there, I think it was in 1989, maybe 1990. I'm working as the trooper. And there is a tag match between the Can-Am Express, Doug Furnish and Danny Prophet, two great workers, a great tag team. A lot of the world didn't know about because they spent most of their time in Japan. And they're working against what I consider the toughest guy, and probably when you're ranking, or at least Dale Wilkes' ranking of the 5 greatest workers ever, Kibashi's in that list. He may be in the top 3. But it's Kibashi and Kikuchi in a tag match against Furnish and Prophet. And before they go out, they're talking about that Prophet, or I can't remember if it was Prophet or Kibashi, had decided they were going to get some juice, and they couldn't find the proper instrumentation to do that. So they decided they'd do it the hard way. So Prophet just beat him in the forehead till he busted him open. And I thought, wow, this is a little different. This is a little different, not walking and talking style in the States that I've become accustomed to. But unbelievable matches, unbelievable finishes. You'd have a finish that may last 15 minutes long, and right day 30 false finishes, one big move after another, 1-2 kick out, 1-2 kick out. And people are just delirious. They're going crazy. And you're on a bus with Dory Funk Jr., Stan Hansen, Andre the Giant, Abdullah the Butcher, Terry Gordy, Steve Williams, Johnny Ace, my tag team partner, Jackie Fulton, Bobby Fulton, Tommy Rogers, Prophet, Furnace. And then you walk over to the Japanese bus, and there's Baba, there's Jumbo, there's Misawa, there's Taue, Kawada, Kibashi. It's just unbelievable. That's Hall of Fame talent on every bus, man.
Now, my question, I guess, would be is, now, the American fan is probably not all that familiar with the Japanese style.
Mm-hmm.
And, until recently, New Japan Pro Wrestling is now here in the States that you can watch. But you used to hear stories of the Japanese fan and the way they would literally, behave, not so much behave, but, just the way they acted, watching these matches. And, and how, the American wrestler, and how they treated them, and they showed them such respect. Is any truth to that?
Oh yeah, it's an awful lot of truth to it. They showed the utmost respect to the American wrestler. They were amazed by the American wrestler. I've got of course, everything I've got seems like is video that needs to be converted to what we watch now. But I've got stacks, literally hundreds of tapes from my time in All Japan. And the Japanese wrestler, this was the greatest example of it I've ever seen, the difference between the Japanese guys and the American guys. Hansen is working Misawa one night for the Triple Crown for the belt, and I forget what city we were in, but the building was packed. And you literally, as was the case in most of the buildings we went to, most of the venues, you literally had to almost fight your way through a sea of fans to get to the ring. I mean, you'd be blown up by the time you get to the ring, just working your way through the fans. And they're mobbing Misawa. It's like those old black and white tapes of Elvis or the screaming girls rushing the stage, or the Beatles. And here's Misawa trying to work his way to the ring, and these fans are grabbing him, they're pulling him, they're yanking him, and his face never changes expression. Never smiles. He never looks mad. It's just this stone cold blank look about it. And that was typical of the Japanese wrestler. Very little emotion in the ring, very little fire. And then he gets to the ring, the house lights go down again, the spotlight comes on Stan Hansen as he's making his way to the ring, and within 3 steps out of the locker room, somebody slaps his cowboy hat off the top of his head, and it was on. He beat everybody up that touched him from there to the ring, and once he walked through the barricade to get to the ring, he went back through the gate, back out into the crowd, to beat a few more of them up. And I mean, he wore them out. I wish I could get my hands on that where I could put it out where people could see it. I mean, he kicked some serious butt before he even got to the ring. So the Japanese fans were just that emotion, that passion, that fire that the Japanese guys didn't have, but the American guys did. And the Japanese fans really appreciated that, because while they loved their Japanese wrestlers and their ability to perform in the ring and their toughness, they just didn't see that type of personality from the Japanese guys, but they sure did from the American guys.
Nice. All right, so Rob, when he found out you were coming, Rob had a burning question that he's been holding until you got close to the Attitude Era that he wants to ask. So we're going to let Rob ask his question.
All right.
I'm going to let you go run with it, Brian.
No, it's your question, Rob.
All right, well, since the cat's got his tongue, I'll help him out. Help a brother out. So, Attitude Era, you're in the midst of working with Bret Hart. You've worked with Owen Hart. You stand side by side with Stone Cold Steve Austin. I mean, of all of the accomplishments that you had over your career, that has to stand pretty close to the top, I would say.
Oh, absolutely. Here I am. I've got an opportunity to come back to the States, my home, and to work for the largest wrestling company on the face of the earth, the greatest promoter. And you can talk about Barnum and Bailey and Colonel Tom Parker and all those guys, but the greatest promoter that's ever zipped up a pair of pants and put a belt on and tied his shoes is Vince McMahon. So now I've got an opportunity to come back to work for that company and that promoter and that owner. And I've got an opportunity to do so, like you said, that night walking out on that stage with Steve Austin and Ken Shamrock and maybe The Undertaker. I can't remember all the guys that were up there. And because of my character, the Patriot, this flag-waving, patriotic, America-loving guy, I'm thrown right into the middle of a feud with the face of the company, Bret Hart, who's turned heel and who's just putting the boots to everything America, our way of life, our fans, the way we do things, and to be dropped right in the middle of that, literally within just about a week of coming to the company. And, I mean, what great time. It just, you couldn't ask for a better timing to be in a better situation. Unfortunately, You know, I went to the WWF knowing I was probably on borrowed time. I had two major injuries that I was dealing with, and I had no illusions of being able to fulfill all 3 years of the 3-year deal that I signed with them. Now, I didn't tell anybody that in the WWF. I didn't tell Vince McMahon that. As a matter of fact, when I got the form to fill out to go to a doctor and have a physical done, I went to a doctor who gimmicked up the entire physical and lied about everything and presented me with a clean bill of health as a guy that was healthy, when I knew, in fact, I wasn't. So, in spite of being there in such good timing and being able to work with Brett and Owen and be a part of that feud and part of that angle, you know, I knew, too, that I was on borrowed time and had no idea how long it would last, and didn't last very long due to the health issues that I was dealing with.
It felt like to me that both in WCW and in WWE, there were opportunities that they could have taken with you, even in a diminished capacity, even with injury. I felt like they didn't utilize you properly. And that was always my biggest complaint, because what we saw and what we knew of you from Global and from what you did in WCW, and then your ability to not just hang with Bret Hart in the main event of Monday Night Raw, but to really stand tall in the midst of that entire angle, that entire storyline. I always felt like it was a big mistake on their part. We mentioned that you worked with Owen Hart. Was there ever a time, because I know that he was infamous for ribs, for jokes. Was there ever one that you can recall that he did to you?
No, never. I was very fortunate, for whatever reason, I don't know, but I was never on the receiving end of really any ribs. I think maybe one. And I can't give you a reason as to why. Maybe, you know, you're 6'3", you're 295, you come from a background as a very successful football player. You know, you have a reputation for being able to handle yourself. Not that I was this tough guy or anything like that, but I considered myself to be one and could take care of myself. But maybe that prevented me from being on the, you know, on the end of those ribs. But no, I never had to deal with that. Never. I woke up one time on a flight. I'd fallen asleep with my sunglasses on, and somebody had put some mayonnaise on each of my lenses on my sunglasses, and that was the extent of any rib. Now, I did see one day where I was on the plane today that they put a condom on Vader's head and filled it with mayonnaise and laid it across his head. And I saw some pretty brutal stuff. It's amazing. I was in Japan one of the nights in Japan, and let me tell you that this was always going to never end up good. You give a group of American wrestlers a day off in Japan where they can't understand what's on TV. You're not getting, especially if you're outside of Tokyo, you're not getting any English-speaking TV, and you're just flat out bored. And you take the British Bulldog, Dr. Death Steve Williams, Johnny Smith, Danny Crockett, Terry Gordy, and you take about 4 or 5 cases of beer and a couple bottles of liquor and some halcyons, and you throw those guys in a room, something bad's going to happen. And I've witnessed many unsuspecting females that went back to the hotel room with one of the boys, and they had a full head of hair, and they had beautiful hair, and they had eyebrows, and they wake up the next morning and the circus has left town. The guys are gone, but so is their hair, so is their eyebrows, so is their clothing, so is their shoes. And so I've witnessed that on several occasions. And how do you explain that to your coworkers, possibly your boyfriend, your husband, your mom and dad, that when you left the house the night before, you had this shoulder-length, beautiful black hair, and you come home and you're bald-headed, and you have no eyebrows, and it's just...
Oh, my God.
Somebody got some explaining to do.
That's an awkward come to Jesus meeting right there with your parents. That's an awkward time.
Really? I was in Bible study, Mom.
Oh my goodness. That's awful.
Here's
We
a
were-
Bible
we were
I
on
got the Gideons.
We were on a flight from L.A. to Tokyo, and we're intermingled with people that are flying to Tokyo to go home. A lot of the Japanese people on the flight, and there is Danny Crawford about 3 rows in front of me, and Johnny Smith, who was good friends with the British Bulldogs and Dynamite, and a great worker from the UK. And they've got a Japanese businessman sitting in between them, and he recognizes both of them, and he is tickled to death. That has made his day. That he's going to be on a 10 to 12-hour flight with 2 professional wrestlers.
Oh, boy.
And he's drinking beers with them, and they're toasting, and he's yelling and high-fiving and having a good time. And I just knew I didn't have to be on that same aisle. I knew that somewhere shortly into that flight, somebody had probably dropped a couple of halcyons in his beer, as they did. And he made it to the movie, the first movie. They would show you 2 movies on a 12-hour international flight. And about 5 minutes after the lights went down on the airplane to show the movie, I heard that sound of somebody's clippers. That and I knew what was going on. So once the lights come up and the guy's he's passed out. He doesn't wake up till he gets to Tokyo because they've dropped so many halcyons in his beer. And as I'm walking by, as we're deboarding or getting off the plane, the guy's got 1 strip of hair left, and it's right down the middle of his head. And so it's just, bad things happen when you're on an international flight with a gang of pro wrestlers.
And he's the CEO of somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or was.
He's a Sony exec, and he's got a limo waiting on him when he gets back to Tokyo. And, again, he's got some explaining to do.
Sorry, sir, this limo's not for you. Yes, it is. No, it isn't. Picture I got definitely don't look like you.
And that's just the G-rated stuff I can give you. That a lot of it was a lot worse than that. But I'll just have to leave it at that.
Well, now, for the record, we do a corner-to-corner after hours. So if you would like to come back,
20 minutes.
For those heavier stories.
I would share some of them off the air.
And no, Brian, that does not mean you can fire up your Mattel 8-track recorder, okay?
No. I'll keep those quiet.
Well, Del, this has been an awesome conversation with you. Thank you so much for your time this evening. We're glad to have had you. And of course, you are always welcome here. If ever that was a question, you should know. You're always welcome. If anything we can do to help, whether it's the documentary or any upcoming appearances, we're certainly glad to help you out.
Well, I appreciate it, guys, and that means an awful lot. And, of course, enjoyed our time tonight and the previous time as well. So it's always fun, and I thank you for the opportunity.
Del, do me a favor before you leave, and I'll do this on air just as quickly as I will do it off air. If you would like to set up with somebody that you're comfortable with doing the voiceover, or if Michael Elliott has one available, if you'd like to put together a 30-second radio spot to help advertise the DVD set, as the owner of this station, I'll be more than happy to put it in our commercial rotation just for you.
What would that entail? What would I need to do? Just record it and get it to you?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to.
Cool.
Appreciate you giving me the chance to do that.
Not a problem. I respect your body of work, and I am a huge fan. And like I said, I'm proud to call you a compatriot in this industry. I've had the privilege of being around it for a number of years. Never had the honor of working with you directly on a card, but like I said, a huge fan of your body of work. And any way that I can help, I'm more than happy to.
Well, I appreciate that, and I'll put something together and just and send it to you.
Deal. Stan?
Joe, where can our fans catch up to you on social media, sir?
Well, you can go to Facebook, Del Wilkes. Then there's an official Del the Patriot Wilkes fan page. And I've got to give my wife credit for all of this. I knew nothing about social media, was absolutely ignorant of social media up until Kathy and I got married a little over 3 years ago. And she's done a fabulous job of getting my face and my name out there. But Dell Wilkes on Facebook, Dell the Patriot Wilkes. There's even a Gamecock Legends Facebook page that you can go to. And then on Twitter, at Dell Wilkes.
And that is where actually we came to get in contact with you the first time. So I'm definitely grateful to have that. And let me just say, Kathy is a great cheerleader for you, sir. She does an awful lot, and she's very, very kind. Definitely appreciate her taking the time to help us get in touch with you.
I tell you what, I'm a very fortunate man, number one, to be married to my best friend and to have her as my wife. I met her in 1977 at a Christian youth camp. As a matter of fact, we were standing together. I think we'd known each other 2 days. The day that we heard that Elvis Presley had died, and that's when we met, was in August of 1977. We separated. We both went our separate ways for a number of years. Literally accidentally ran into her March 3 years ago. 30 days later, we were married. And I'm just a very fortunate man. I told somebody recently, Kathy wakes up every day going, how can I make Dell's life better? And what can I do to help Dell? And when you've got a wife that's that way, you're a very, very fortunate man. And I appreciate everything she does. You're exactly right. She's a huge cheerleader for me and everything that I do. So very appreciative that the Lord's blessed me with a good wife.
Yes, sir. Hey, well, we were happy to have you on tonight. Thank you so much. I will follow up with you off air as far as getting the audio spot for the commercial for the documentary.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Please hold him for just a couple more minutes.
Sorry, Brian's getting his feelings hurt that he hasn't gotten to talk to you for the last couple minutes, so he wants to ask you something.
Go ahead.
No, actually, it was a pleasure talking to you. It's nice to see somebody that goes down that path and then happens to turn it around and become, not a statistic or a number. And again, thank you for showing up on air. And unlike the other two, I do have a Patriot WWE figure at my house. So,
well,
there
I
you go.
Thank you for that as well.
Hey, Rob.
You can take it to Legends Fest.
I tell everybody that you've heard that saying, a face made for radio. I was told I had a face made for a mask, and so the Patriot wasn't the only time in my career that I wore a mask. My first character, my first gimmick that Moolah came up with was the guy that I broke into business with. We were the Mask Grapplers. I get to Mid-South, the first thing that Jerry Lawler wants to do is put a mask on me and call me the Dream Weaver. That lasted about a month. Then he put Scott Steiner and I together as a tag team, again, under hoods, white tights. We were called the Wrestling Machines. So actually the Patriot was the fourth character I had done in my career that involved the mask. So I guess that's telling you something.
All right, so do you have any footage of you and Scott on the DVD? Because I did not know that, and that is so intriguing.
I do not. Michael tried to dig it up, but I don't. I had that Dreamweaver went over like a fart in church, and so Lawler approaches me and says, "Look, man," and I'm going to tell you, there was some good talent there in Mid-South when I got there. Scott was at the beginning of his career. Mark, this was way before the Undertaker days, was there. Sid was there, Sid Vicious, Brian Lee, Tracy Smothers, myself. But Lawler approaches me and Scott and says, "Look, we want to put you guys together. You're going to have these white tights, white hoods, the Wrestling Machines. What do you think?" And we said, "Well, we're in." And so Scott and I tag teamed together there for a few months.
Nice.
Well, I gotta try to track down some of that footage because I'm with Brian. I want to know about the tag teaming with Scott Steiner, and it's interesting because you're one of the few characters in the industry that has had a mask on for the majority of your career, and you actually turned it into a very successful run. Whereas a lot of folks, when they start off under a hood or under a mask, it's usually the death knell.
Well, I tell you, and Greg Gagne was very helpful. Say what you want about Greg, but Greg was very good as a baby face of showing fire, showing emotion, and Greg really, really helped me out in the sense that, hey, dude, your face is covered up. People can't see anything from your face as far as emotion, so you really need to oversell with your body, do whatever you can to show fire, to show disappointment, whatever it is you got to do. So Greg was very helpful in directing me and giving me advice, working under a hood, even though he never had.
Well, Del, we are coming up at our turning point here. Again, thank you so much for joining us. We will be happy to have you on yet another time. Anytime you're available, sir, we'll be happy to have you back on.
Hell yes.
Thank you so much for your time. You have a great rest of your evening, sir.
Okay. Y'all do the same.
Mm-hmm. Bye-bye.
Folks, that was Del Wilkes, the Patriot.
The
one and only.
One and only.
There are many pretenders.
Often imitated.
But only one originator.
Never duplicate. Awesome interview. I love talking to wrestlers that have turned things around. A good redemption story, I think, is always a good idea to have heard and shared with the world. And I don't think you're going to find one as good, maybe right up there with Jake Roberts when you talk about comparison-wise. Always enjoy talking to Del, and I think we got, as far as some of the stories we got this time, I'm floored. I mean, I'm still surprised about teaming with Scott Steiner. I had no idea that was even a thing.
And I am quite shocked that Vader did not bring the plane down.
No kidding.
I bet you he never looked at mayonnaise the same way again.
So
Too bad nobody did a T-shirt.
If we ever get him, we'll have to bring it on him. So tell us about the mayonnaise incident.
So what about this and a certain prophylactic and mayonnaise?
Oh, you didn't think we knew about that, did you?
We have our sources.
Man, that would be an awkward conversation.
But I'm just saying, if you get Vader on, I don't think any of us are going to ask questions. Somebody's going to be like, hey, Vader, thanks for coming on.
It's time.
You saw his Hall of Fame speech, and it wasn't even his Hall of Fame.
No.
Oh, I could
he was just introducing somebody.
I could sing a few questions. The coming from Japan with the mask and then going to WCW and getting the big shit on. Did they ever think about going back to Japan? Because it didn't take long for them to. Vader was not Vader,
I mean, his run against Sting, then where he put Cactus Jack in Amnesia. I mean, that was pretty cool.
Well, yeah, but I mean, Vader
not for Cactus Jack.
That was back in the days you didn't have the internet,
right?
And Vader was one of those superstars that literally you heard about.
Internet killed the
and he was on, he was on a different continent.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the things you'd hear about tape trading the most was Vader, Stan Hansen, Masawa. Gosh, there's a bunch of them. And of course, the Patriot, even when he was over there. So, Eddie, I got to know, what are your thoughts comparison-wise with this most recent interview?
I loved it. I mean, anytime you get a chance to speak to somebody who has a good working head for the business, and Del Wilkes always has. He's been through his trials. He's been through his tribulations. He's dealt with his demons. And he's come out on the other side of the tunnel riding the train rather than being under the train. And you have to respect somebody who has the courage of their convictions to stand up and realize, yes, okay, I've hit this wall. I've hit this plateau. I've hit this mountain. I've gone down this valley. Let's get it together one way or the other. And through the help of family, through the help of friends, through the help of his life mate, his wife, and as he says himself, through the assistance and help of his Savior, Jesus Christ, he was able to pull it together. You have to respect that. Even for those who are atheist, agnostic, don't believe, that's fine. That's your prerogative. But by the same token, when somebody gives that credit because of that faith that they have. You have to look at that and smile. It's like you're willing to accept help from all sources. And that's a good thing. When you can open up your mind, open up your heart, and pursue actively a new direction, and it's the right one this time. That's a good thing, no matter how you look at it.
Yeah, I mean, it's some powerful stuff that he talked about as far as his own rock bottom moment. I couldn't imagine looking my friends and family in the eye after being in that type of situation. It's hard to fathom.
Yeah.
Stan, look up.
Oh, see, that's just not right. I've never been in that kind of trouble.
What trouble?
Well, really, any kind of trouble.
Pretty sure.
Pretty sure.
Brian, lock the door.
You know something I don't?
I'm just asking.
I mean,
are you sure?
Yeah.
Can you phone your mama right now? Tell her you're not in no trouble.
I mean, this is getting kind of awkward.
What happy was,
folks, that'll do it. We gotta go.
Are you sure you want to take it off the air? Don't you want some witnesses, baby?
Tony Schiavone, I could use your help right about now.
Good luck with that.
Oh man!
All right, so we should mention the fact that one of the greatest tag teams in Crockett Promotions history has now been added to Legends Fest.
The Monkeys.
Yes, the
Mulkey Mania.
Mulkey Mania
is running wild.
I hope they got
or jogging swiftly.
I'm getting a t-shirt.
Jogging swiftly.
Now you talk about a cult. A cult following. These guys got it.
Was it Tully Blanchard they finally beat?
No, they beat. All right, so they had this big tag team tournament, and they brought this mass tag team in from Los Angeles, and they beat them like their first match. This new tag team's first match. The Mulkeys beat them, and of course afterwards they get laid out. And I believe they beat the Midnight Express once or twice because there was a little, maybe 2-3 week feud where I think the Mulkeys got the best of them a couple times, and then the Midnight Express retaliated, and there went that.
Hey, congratulations to Brock Lesnar.
Brock Lesnar.
Successfully returning to the Octagon, winning at UFC 200.
Beating the tar out of him.
That's right, beating the Samoan Superman.
Tar.
The Super Samoan.
Yeah, that guy too. I don't think it really matters. I mean, he lost.
You asked the person who's printing the T-shirts.
I mean, I don't think they're printing T-shirts anymore. They probably just sent them on the way.
You put one phrase in front of the other, it's called lawsuit. You put it up for the other way, hey, merchandise.
Oh, good point.
I think Ring of Honor's Women of Wrestling or Women of Honor or whatever it is up and running now. Full steam.
Yep.
So try and catch that if you can. Show some support. Not since the likes of Glow. We've seen quite possibly whole woman federate. I love it. I love it.
Women's combat.
You forgot Shimmer, Shine, Valkyrie.
Yeah, I don't watch Shimmer Shine. Can't see them.
Queens of Combat.
Yeah, but I can watch Women of Honor because they're right up the street, Baltimore, Maryland, whatever. What's that? What Joppa? That's it. Joppa.
Oh, you mean the same place that they have Maryland Championship Wrestling that y'all haven't made it out to yet?
Blame that on Stan.
Yeah, why is it my fault? Why is it my fault?
Because you're supposed to be the ringleader. This is your show.
You're supposed to be insider knowing all this.
Yeah. You're supposed to.
I am not.
You're supposed to have T-shirts made up too.
Yeah, you read all them dirt sheets.
Yet either.
You read all them dirt sheets and tell us all about it. Believe it.
No, he's in between crusty sheets.
Still waiting for them T-shirts. What, like a month and a half now?
Yeah.
Okay,
didn't even hear that bus coming over, did you?
We got to get ready to make way for the Midnight Black Mass. The Reverend Dan Wilson is waiting.
I ain't gonna make me mad.
He's gonna make you part of the Dark Gospel. Robert. Where can they catch up to you on social media?
At Rob Hefner and on the Twitter and Rob Hefner on Facebook and RDHUWP on Instagram. And Eddie just told us to shut up.
No, I didn't. Finish your shameless plugs. Come on.
Who are they? Brian, who are they? Where can they catch up with you on social media?
I'm at a loss because we got 2 numbers on the screen. One now. All right, so let's go.
It's called Eddie going.
Which one do we normally give them? The 21?
STR.
Yeah, we don't give them the STRCP21 at hotmail.com.
Oh, wow. And you've now got his personal email address.
Well, that's the one. No,
Brian also lives that.
That's not my real one. That's
right. STRCP on Twitter.
But
STRCP21.
Oh, is that Twitter?
On the Twitter.
Oh, what's my Facebook?
All these weeks we've been asking him what his social media is, and he just throws out the email address.
Can I just ask one simple question? Wait. Can I ask one simple question? For the length of time y'all been doing this, have you never considered writing the ish down?
Whoa. That's way too easy.
Yeah, no.
I don't do defense.
No,
next week he's going to have GPS coordinates.
That's why I like Facebook and Twitter. You can plug it in one time, and as long as you don't log off, you're good to go.
There you go.
And of course, the show can be found at C2C Radio Show on Twitter, Corner to Corner Radio Show on Facebook.
Who called him?
He's patiently awaiting for us to leave the freaking airwaves.
We're sorry, we're getting off of here.
That's the Black Mass calling in going.
Yes, I know.
Is that the preacher? It's my show now.
Is that Andrew over there?
Do we have the good Reverend Dan Wilson on the line?
No, actually, Dan called in a second ago. Heard y'all were still going and hung up for a second. He's about to call back, and I think that's Andrew Alexander on right now.
Andrew, is that you, sir?
Are you talking about this line? This is Strychnine.
Hey, Strychnine. Sorry about that. He told me you were going to be calling in. Give me just a second.
Don't hang up the.
No, the Lethal Dose Strychnine on the line. Glad to have him.
Super card. You realize that? A super card.
You know what?
A super card of Beyond Ringside.
Amazing.
Stan.
Host.
Yes, sir.
Say bye-bye.
Bye-bye. We gotta go.
Okay,
we'll see you next week.
What's the super card?
We'll do it. We'll do it like this. For Stan. Let's try that again. Shh. For Stan.
And remember, folks, Pokemon Go is not to be used on the highways.
For Rob.
Or local police stations.
For Eddie.
For Rob.
Holla, holla.
For Brian.
Peace till next week.
And stealing one from an old friend of mine, Mr. George Lowe. Good night.